Start Gimel Amud Aleph, 4 lines from the top. I'd say Bashmura. We learned in the Mishnah that the time for Shema in the evening was when the Canaan come in to eat their chum, even though they were tamei, but they went to the mikveh and at nightfall they become pure. And the end time was, according to the first opinion, the end of the first watch. So on the following page, the Gemara is going to tell us that there's a machlekes how many watches there are. We say watch, it's referring to the angels in heaven sing songs, and there's different watches, different like a rotation. So how many are there throughout the night? Are there 3 or are there 4? That's what we're going to learn on the next page. So right now, we say until the end of the first watch. Now, if there's 3 watches, then that's 4 hours. If there's 4 watches, then it's 3 hours, right? We're dividing 12. So, Micah Savar Rabbi Lezer. What does Rabbi Lezer hold? Ika Savar Shalish Mishmars Havi Alayla. If he holds that there's 3 watches during the night, Salema Adar B'Shois, let him say that it's 4 hours. Just to make it simple. If he holds like the other opinion, it's machlekes Rabbi and Reb Nosson. We'll see on the next page. If he holds that there's 4 mishmaros, 4 watches.
Did you send out the
Yeah, I put it on the WhatsApp yesterday. No, I you should do it again for today. Just click on the link. No, on today's link. I sent it out today. Who is that? Oh. Does he want to just call and put the phone in?
Well, it's time to try that.
Okay. So if he holds that there is 4 watches, and let him just say 3 hours, because 12 divided by 4 would be 3. So the Gemara answers, really, he holds that it's 3 watches. But he's telling us a chiddush. Because why didn't he say, if there's 3 watches, why didn't he say just after 4 hours, you have 4 hours to recite the Shema? If you divide 12 by 3, that would give you 4 hours. Just say that. No, he says he wants to tell me a chiddush. That there are watches above, and there's a representation of that below, that you can see what these watches are. The Tanya, it's taught in a Brisa, Rabbi Lezer Eimer. Rabbi Lezer himself explains. There's a Brisa where Rabbi Eliezer discusses this. He says, Shalish Mishmaris Havi Alayla, that there's 3 watches in the night. By the way, Rabbi Eliezer, I think yesterday, is one of the students of Rabbi Yomi ben Zakkai, one of the people that carried Rabbi Yomi ben Zakkai out through the gates of Yerushalayim Rabbi Eliezer ben Harkanis. And he's the author of the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, and he had a tremendous memory. The Mishnah tells us. So he says that there were 3 watches in the night. I'll call Mishmar and Mishmar, and in each watch, Yeshiv HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'Shayik Kari. Hashem sits and roars like a lion. Shenemar, as it says, Hashem Yimarim Yishak. Hashem from above, up high, he roars. From his holy abode, Yitin Kaili gives his voice. Shoig Yishag al Neveyo. He roars over his dwelling, which is the Bais of Mikdash. And we have over here, the pasuk says, Shog or Yishag 3 times. So there's 3 watches, and each of these watches, Hashem roars like a lion. Similar davar, and if you want to know like when this is happening, Mishmar Rishaina in the first watch, Kamar Noyer, the donkey brays. Shniya in the second watch, Klavan Tzayakim. The dogs are crying. Dogs cry, right? Some of them.
They howl.
I'm sorry?
Howl.
They howl? Okay, that's the word. Tzayakim could be howl. Is that the term that's used?
Yeah.
Dogs? Shlishis Tinek Yenik Mishidayimai. In the third watch, the baby nurses from his mother. The Isha Misaperes and Baila. and a woman talks with her husband, that means that they're beginning to wake up and they start to talk. Some people would like to comment that it says Isha Misaperes in Baila, that the woman talks. I don't know if that's a deal, okay. That's the fourth. The explanation for that is that the woman would be talking about what's going on in the household and the things that she needs, what she has to be done today, and so the woman's discussing like, carpool and other type of stuff, babysitting, and all of that, what we need in the grocery. Okay, so we have the three.
Your comment is patience first. My comment is in the Bible.
Very good. He sees the positive there. So we have the three watches, and we have them. They're above and they're below as well. Micah Choshev Rebbe Lezer. The Gemara asks, what is Rebbe Lezer counting? If he's counting the beginning of the watches, in other words, when he gives these signs, what are these signs saying? The beginning of the watch, the middle of the watch, or the end of the watch? Because each one is 4 hours. So if he's telling us the beginning of the watches, the beginning of the watch, what do I need a sign for? Or to it gets dark. That's the sign. We'll see where this is headed. He's safe mishmar kachashiv. If he's counting the end of the watches, so safe mishmar achreinu lamali. So what do I need? The end of the third one. That's yamamahu. That's day, and it becomes daybreak. So that's the end of the third one. Alachashiv safe mishmar rishayna. The only way to make this significant is that the donkey braying is at the end of the first watch. That's after 4 hours. Tchila mishmar achreina, and 4 hours later is the beginning of the third watch that he's also counting. In the middle one with the dogs howling, that would be the middle of the middle one. Because over there, I don't have any other sign for it.
When the Molech was wrestling with Yaakov, it seemed to imply that he had to go through the shift.
Right.
And I don't know if it was this light broke.
Right. So it wasn't during the night, it was during the day. No, but you're asking that. Okay, you're asking that it was the end. It was the end. Did the angels in heaven do it throughout the 4 hours, and we just have signs for when it begins, ends, or is in the middle? That could be, and that would explain that. But they do it for full 4 hours. The signs below that we have for them don't necessarily go through all 4 hours. You'll ask them.
This has nothing to do with those hourly changes of Hashem's name.
It does have to do with the minutes. It is associated with that. Pnei Yeshua has a question over here. He asks, well, how can the Gemara have a question when this is? Why don't we go out and see when the dogs howl and when the donkey brays? So we'll figure it out like that. I don't know. So the Iba Yisema, there's another shot, another possibility over here why we need these signs. The Iba Yisema Kulu Seif Mishmars Kachashiv. Really, we're counting all the ends. After 4 hours into the night, 8 hours into the night, and 12 hours, which means the morning. You don't need the morning one. But there still is. Oh, okay, good. So, my nafkamina, what is the difference here? Lemikri kriya shema laman the gani b'beis afal. To recite shema for someone that's laying in a dark house. He doesn't know when the time for shema is. Once he hears that there's people starting to chatter, to talk, the woman is talking to her husband, and the baby's starting to nurse. Like he gets up and he recites Shema, and it's dark. So the reason why we have to give a time that it's these other simonim of chattering and he doesn't go outside and look, it was dark or whatever, and maybe laying in bed, he has to know he has to get up. Tosfos asks over here, Rabbi Lezer's opinion is that you don't recite the Shema until Mishiyaker ben Chelas Lakarti, when you can tell difference between blue and green. So it's a little bit later than this time of dawn. We're giving a time for dawn. So a little later, he says, well, you have to prepare anyway. So when you hear them talking, you prepare, and by that time it'll be ready for.
So it's Friday, it's at night, so you don't see the tellus. You don't have a feel on that.
There's
no Chabad wear, but sleep
there's a machlekes about tzitzis, if it's night clothing or if it's nighttime. That's a machlekes the Rambam in the Rush. Okay, Amar. Let me just say that the Mefarshim over here have all different explanations for what's going on with the donkey and the dog. The Marsha says that you're going through the stages of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and the Chamar is the Nefesh, and the dog is the Ruach, and the baby nursing is the Neshama. Ben Yehuda talks about the three Batei Mikdash here, because it says Hashem is roaring like a lion over the Beis Hamikdash. Says the first one is the donkey. He says the first one was destroyed because of Bittul Torah, and the donkey is supposed to carry the load. It would say in the yeshivas, it would say that the way a donkey goes to sleep, as it crouches down with the load on its back. This is also when the yeshiva bachik leaves the yeshiva for Ben Azmanim, you still have to wear the hat and jacket. Even when you're resting, you still have the load of the. That was what they would tell us. So that's corresponding. That's corresponding to the donkey. The dog is the second Beis Hamikdash because that was destroyed because of Lashon Hara. And someone that talks Lashon Hara, it says, should be thrown to the dogs. And then third Beis Hamikdash will receive from the Shekhinah. That's the baby that's nursing. I'm sure Daniel will comment on this. I'm sure Daniel has a blog that he writes things. Maybe post Daniel. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Shmuel Mishmei Derav. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Shmuel says in the name of Rav. There's 3 watches to the night. On each watch, Hashem sits and he roars like a lion. And he says, woe to the sons that because of their sins I destroyed my house. Commentaries say that's referring to the Beis Hamikdash Shalmaila, the heavenly house. The Sarafti Eseichali, and I burnt my Eichal, that's referring to the Beis Hamikdash Shalmata, some say. V'gleisim lebeinu u'masaylam, and I exiled them amongst the nations. Okay. Tanya, start in a brisa. Here we have a story. This is what people like about brachas. But it's very stories and you feel.
Let's go back there. So what do we conclude here? Why do we use the shemars and not hours?
It's trying to tell us a halacha that if you don't have, you don't know what time it is, you don't have a clock and you're in a dark room, you can get those times as well. There's 3 mishmaros.
It's like, the guy at the train station.
No,
But it's not at the
You
train
don't know
station.
that story? This guy's waiting on Long Island Railroad, all right? And then this young yeshiva bachur walks up to him. He says, "Excuse me, what time is it?" And he doesn't answer him. And then he waits longer, and then he asks him again. And finally, he goes on the train, and the guy asks him, "And what time is it?" And he can't. So the yeshiva bachur says, "I don't understand. Maybe you said 3 times. Why won't you tell me what time it is?" He says, If I tell you what time it is, we'll start a conversation. Then we'll find out we're going to the same place. Then we'll find out that what do you call it, that you're the same age as my daughter. Next thing I know, you're gonna see my daughter. And then before I know it, you're gonna want to get engaged. Will be quiet. You want to be engaged to my daughter. Who wants a son-in-law that doesn't own a watch? He didn't know the joke. He didn't know it.
Okay, I got it.
He asked. The rabbi asked.
Tanya, let's start in the Bais.
He said stories. Tanya.
I'm a Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi says, one time I was going on the road. The Ben Yayada, the Ben Ishchai is medayek here that there's a difference between Mahalach Baderech and Oiver Baderech. Mahalach Baderech means that everything along the way is significant. Oiver Baderech means that really what's happening to him isn't significant. He just needs to get somewhere. It's a different attitude that a person has about Hashgacha Pratis. It's the Mahalach Baderech.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like what I said from the Kutzka. They said that they invented the train. They told them that you can get from Warsaw to Pinsk in 3 hours. He said, "What's the rush?" So, and it's not just where you're going. There's things that are happening while to be aware of. Okay, so one time Rabbi was Mahalach Baderech. And I went into one of the the ruins, good. Ruins of Jerusalem, Lispalo to Daven. Boelio Zachalatayv. So Elio comes. It's called Zachalatayv. He remembered for good. Not because he passed away, because he didn't pass away, but
is this the only reference like this, or every time?
I don't know. The Shamali ala Pesach, and he waited for me by the doorway. Until I finished the prayer. When I finished my prayer, Amali Shalom Alecha Rabbi. So he says, "Peace unto you, Rabbi, my teacher." Amarti la Shalom Alecha Rabbi Umayri. There's other sources that Rabbi Yossi had was together with Eliyahu Navi. He calls him Rabbi Umayri. V'Amrli, so Eliyahu says, "B'ni, my son, why did you enter into this ruins?" I said, to Daven. This is Rabbi Yossi speaking. V'Amrli said, you should have davened on the road. I said to Eliyahu, those passerbys could interrupt me. Maybe they'll want to get by, they'll need something. What time is it, right? And he said to me, he said, I was concerned that they'll interrupt me. He said, no, you should have davened the quick tefillah. Quick tefillah, Rashi and Tosfos agree that it's Havinenu. Havinenu is a condensed Shemoneh Esrei, where you have first 3 brachos, the last 3 brachos, and a combination of all the brachos in the middle, similar to what we do by Friday night. Magin Abba, we condense the Shemoneh Esrei. Me'en Shalosh Ala Mechia is a condensed benching. This is Avinenu is a condensed Shemoneh Esrei. So Bais Shal Amarati Menachem Shleisha Dvarim. There was a short conversation there, and he said at that time I learned 3 halachos just from that little interaction. Lamarati Sheinichnasim Lechorba. First, I learned that you're not supposed to enter into a ruins. Lamarati Shemispalim Baderech. I learned that you're allowed to daven on the road. What is the chiddush of that? Maybe that you daven on the road, even though it may be difficult to concentrate, or that you don't have to daven again when you get back. Maybe, not sure. I also learned that if you're davening on the road, you daven a short Shemoneh Esrei. Then the conversation continues. What voice did you hear in this ruins? How does he know he heard any voice? He's Eliyahu Navi. He knows. I saw Shamati Baskal Shemoneh Hemes Ki Yoina. I heard a Baskal that's I don't know what Menachem is.
Cooing
like a dove.
Cooing, good. Cooing like a dove. By Maris, and it's saying, woe to the sons that because of their sins I destroyed my house. Again, the Hashem's house above. And I destroyed the Bais Hamikdash below. And I exiled them. The Ben Yoda mentions here that we switched between Shayid Kari, roaring like a lion, and Menachem and cooing like a dove. He says that before it was talking about by night. And by night is the time of Gura, so it was like a lion. Arya is Kamacha Gura. And Yaina is Kamacha Chesed. That's what he says. So you have to add Imakayla. So there's a difference on how he's doing this, but it's how the Abish is doing this, if it's or the Baskal, when it's by night or by day. Ba'amali, he says to me, Elio says, by your life, I promise, swear. It's not just that you happen to go in at the right time. It's not just at that time that this is happening. It's 3 times a day. And every day. And not only this, when the Jewish people enter into their shuls or their base medrash, and they say, Yehesh me Hagadol Mevairach, Yehesh me Rabba. Rabba would be Hagadol, right? We'll see in a second. So then HaKadosh Baruch Hu Menanei Roshei. Hashem nods. Nods is like nods in approval. And Va'imar, he says, Ashri HaMelech Shemekal Sameis Bebesekach. Praised is the king, or lucky is the king, that they praise him in his house like that. That means if the Bais Hamikdash would be around, and they would say that. That's when Hashem would be lucky. What to a father that he exiled the sons? What was to them? That they were exiled from their father's table. It's a very interesting choice.
And they still say, I was expecting to say that. Allah has come up with Kama, that is. That was probably the halacha.
I'm sure there's different ways of reading this. Taisus quotes the Machzor Vitri, which is a student of Rashi. Shimshon, the Machzor Vitri. It says, Yeheshmei Rabba. He explains, Yeheshmei Rabba means that let Hashem's name become great. Because it says when we're in exile, in Hashem Shalom, ben Akisi Shalom, Hashem Chazar Shalom, God's name isn't complete. And his throne isn't complete until the descendants of Amalek are destroyed. So Yehei Shmei Rabba. The Rabba means let his name, Yehei Rabba. It should be complete, it should be big. That's the Yehei Rabba, it should be complete. Taisus says that from this Gemara, that's not because according to the Machzor Vitri, Mevarach La'olam is going on with the next phrase. Yeshmei Rabba. The Rabba is what should happen. But from this Gemara it says Yeshmei Hagadol Mevarach. It doesn't say La'olam. What that means his great name, Rabba is an adjective. Right? It's explaining. It's a modifier. It's a modifier of name. Right. It's a modifier to the name, which is different than the way Machzor Vitri wants to learn. Then Taisvis discusses why we say Kaddish in Aramaic. It says that there's an interpretation that because so that the angels don't understand, and because it's such a great prayer that the angels would become jealous. And Taisvis doesn't accept that. He says there's many great prayers that we say in Hebrew, and he says the reason why we say it in Aramaic is because after we study say Kaddish, there were people there that didn't understand Lashon Kodesh. They said the Kaddish in Aramaic. Aramaic was the spoken language. Okay. Tanu Rabbanan. We'll start in a Brisa.
If you didn't like the one where it said that because it's a holy davening, but if saying that because there's a lot of other holy things, but right now, why don't we just say it in English? Saying because if the whole thing was so that people would understand it, then why don't we do it the way that we can understand it now?
Hear what it says about davening in other languages. What does it say that? Hear what it says. I have to get back to that. There's a discussion about davening in other languages, and if there's something special about Aramaic. Yossi has a point, because it says specifically that specifically Aramaic is what they don't understand. If it's just so people should understand, then we could switch. It's a good point.
Rabbi, I was told that the angels can't understand Aramaic, and that when we pray in it, it goes kind of around them right up to Hashem.
Right.
So it's more of a direct.
Right. That's what Yossi's saying, that you have two options there. Either it's because we're avoiding the angels, something to do with the angels, or it's so people should understand. If we're avoiding the angels, then Aramaic makes sense. But if it's so people should understand, so switch it to English. That's what he's asking.
Real question here. Ela b'chol yom v'yom shalosh pa'amim.
Right.
Is referring to 3 or 4 mishmar, so it has anything to do with it?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That it's 3 mishmaros by day as well. That's what it sounds like. Okay, Taner Rabbanan. Unless it has to do with the 3 times we daven. Taner Rabbanan was taught in a Brisa. Reb Shira Goyen says that the Taner Rabbanan is a Brisa that was edited by Reb and Rabbi. In the book that we gave to Yitzi over there, there's the translation of Reb Shira Goyen's letter. When you get to that page,
1,000 feet.
We mentioned that you shouldn't go into a ruins. What are the 3? There's 3 reasons why. The three reasons are mipnei chashad. There may be people will think that there's a prostitute there, and they're a woman that's inappropriate behavior. Mipnei mapilas, because it could collapse. Mipnei mazikin, because of demons. So now we're going to go through. We gave 3 reasons. Why do you need 3 reasons for one halacha? They're all. If the one reason should be good enough, unless there's going to be situations where one reason doesn't apply, or 2 reasons don't apply. Then you'll need the other reason. So it's going to go through that. When maybe one reason doesn't apply, it'll still be that halacha. Mipnei chashad. We said because of suspicion that maybe there's a woman there that's not appropriate. And that's people will start talking about that or something. People suspect you. Why is he going there anyway? It could collapse. And when it says bechadati, we're talking about a new ruins. That means that the walls are new and something was old, but whatever it is, it's strong enough that it's not going to collapse. By the way, the word chadati is chadash, because the taf and the shin, they change from Aramaic. That's a common thing that we're going to see. I mean, Aramaic is shin and a taf change. Why is he going there anyway? There's demons there. It says no, it's betray. There's 2 people, and 2 people going there together. So they're not going to. Demons don't harm. You go in pairs. Only harm a person if he's there alone. We'll see. It's not 100% like that, but okay. Betray. If there's 2 people, chashad namilaka. Then there's a rule when the laws of yichud that 2 men are not suspected of being inappropriate, because men are ashamed to behave inappropriate if there's someone else there. So there's no problem of the chashad if there's 2 people there. So when you got rid of the mazikin by saying that there's no problem of mazikin because there's 2, there's also no problem of chashad. The Gemara says betray pritzik. It's not always so. There's such a thing that there's men that are pritzim, they're
low moral.
Yeah, of low moral character. That over there, 2 men doesn't help. Maybe even gets worse. So there's no demons, but you still have the issue of chashad. There's a machlekes in the Paiskim. If 2 people if they're naturally, what's a person's status? Naturally parrots or naturally ksherim? If you don't know specifically, that's another discussion. Depends on how you view society. Ask the philosophers. Okay, because of it could collapse. You can't go there because of this suspicion. And there's also mazikin. There's also the demons. It says no, betray uksheri. There's no chashad because there's two people and they're kosher, and there's no mazikin because there's two people. Okay, now we have another reason why you shouldn't go there. It's mitnei mazikin, because of the demons. You shouldn't go there anyway because of suspicion, and also it could collapse. It says bechur v'chadati. It's not going to collapse because it's new, and ubetray uksheri. And there's no chashad because there's two people there and they're kosher. There's no suspicion. They're good people, high morals. Gemara says, 1 second, you betray. If there's two people, mazikanami laka, then you don't have the demons either. You said that don't go into ruins because of the demons. There's no demons because there's two people. The Gemara says, it's not always so. Depends. If it's a place where the demons are frequent, then two people doesn't help. This is a ruins where the demons would hang out, in those abandoned buildings.
Yeah, I saw in the movie.
Yeah, it must be true. There's a lot of references that we can get over here. Okay. Another, if you want to say la'ilam b'chad, really we're talking about one person, b'chur v'chadati, and it's a new ruins. So 1 second, if there's only one person, then it could be chashad. Okay, so there's a problem now. You see, there's a problem here because two people gets rid of chashad and also gets rid of mazikin. So when will we have one reason applicable without the other? So, in other words, if there's two people there, then there's no chashad and there's no mazikin. So what we're saying now is we're looking at when should there be only a problem of demon. There's no problem of chashad. It must be that there's two people. So no, it could even be that there's one person. How is it? The koi bedabra, that it's in the field. The hasam mishum chashad lek, over there there's no chashad. In the field there's no suspicion. Because the isha bedabra leishricha, the women don't go into the field. That would be, where's the chashad? In the ruins in the city. Over there a woman could be hiding, but in the field they don't go out to the field.
So what do you do with Yehuda story?
That was on the road, next to the city.
Next to the field?
I don't know.
It's on the road. Why is the woman not afraid of the demons?
Oh, you kidding? They ain't afraid of anything.
What do you want
The demons are afraid of the women.
Yes, you say my client is insane.
Yeah, my client is erase the tape.
But there still is an issue of mazikin in the field. Okay, we mentioned before that there's an issue, that there was a discussion how many watches there are. Taner Rabbanan. Thought in the Brisa, Arba mishmaris havi alayla. There's 4 mishmaris for the night. It's broken into 4. That means that each one would be 3 hours. Divri Rebbe. That's Rabbi Yehuda Anasi. That's the opinion of Rabbi. Rabbi Nassan Aimer Shalish. Rabbi Nassan says it's only 3 hours, 3 watches, which means each one is 4 hours. See, I would have liked to make a simon to remember this, that Rabbi Nassan has 3 letters in his name, so there's only, he says there's 3 watches. And Rabbi has only 3 letters in his name, so there's 3 hours, but it doesn't help. That's confusing. Okay, my time of the Rabbi. That's a good question. Hold the question till halfway down the page. We'll ask it again. You hear Shmuley? Wait a little bit. We may have a proof. My time with the Reb Nassan. What's the reason for Reb Nassan? The Reb Nassan says there's 3 watches. It says Vayava Gidon Umeya Isha Sharite B'Ktzei Machane Reisha Shmer Satichayna. Gidon came with 100 men that were with him to the edge of the camp. It says Gidon was one of the judges, and he was going to wage war. He had 300 men that were with him, and each one had a shofar, and he had a different style of warfare. He was going to make a lot of noise, right? And that's it says a combination of Amalek and another, and Lishta maybe, that were together, Mayav, and he was going to wage war just with these 300 men. He divided them into 3 groups. So he comes to the edge of the camp with the 100 men that were with him, and he comes at the beginning of the middle watch. You hear what it says? The middle. How many are there? There's a middle one. So it says Tane. There's only 3. If it says middle, then there's one before and one after. It's a good proof, right? Rabbi Maitichena. So what does Rabbi say? How does he interpret the middle? It says Achas Menachem. There's 2 in the middle. He came to one of the middle ones. One of the middle ones. Rab Nassan Miksiv Tichena Shebetichena. Nassan says, does it say one of the middles? It says the middle. Tichena Ksiv. It says the middle. Okay, my time at the Rebbe. All we did so far was we answered Rebbe from a question that we have on him. But what's his reason for saying that there's 4? Amar Rab Zrika, Amar Rabami, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rab Zrika says the name of Rabami and name of Rabbi Shua ben Levi was excellent at interpreting Pesukim. That's what Gemara Baba Kama tells us. Shua ben Levi was an expert in Agarata. Kasev Echadaimer, one pasuk says, Chatzais Lailakam Lahidus Chal Mishptei Tzidkecha. It says that David HaMelech wakes up by night to Lahidus L'cha, to thank Hashem for his Mishptei Tzidkecha, his just laws. And another pasuk says, Kadmu Einai Ashmuris. My eyes, that means he wakes up, his eyes precedes the watches. He wakes up at Chatzais. We have another pasuk that says his eyes precede the watches. What does that mean? That there's 2 watches after Chatzais. That means there's a total of 4. Okay, Tzad. Arba Mishmar Sabe Lailat. It's only possible if there's 4 watches. And that's why Chatzais, midnight, is preceding 2 watches. Rabbi, this is the opinion of Rabbi. Who wakes up? This is David that wakes up by Chatzais, and it's also preceding 2 watches. So what does Reb Nassan do with this? Reb Nassan savalak Rabbi Yeshua. Reb Nassan holds like Rabbi Yeshua. The Tanan, it's going to be a Mishnah coming up. Rabbi Yeshua Imerad Shalishais. What's David HaMelech saying? That I get up before other kings. Right. Why? Because normally kings wake up 3 hours into the day. Here we're learning that it's 2 hours into the day, at the 3rd hour. So it goes like this. David HaMelech is saying, I wake up 2 watches earlier than them, because there's really only 3 watches during the night. But because they wake up 2 hours into the day, so there were 6 hours, it's 4 hours each, right? So there were 6 hours left of the night, but plus another 2 hours when the king wake up is 8, so that's 2 watches. Not talking about during the night. It's 2 watches before everyone else wakes up. That's what he means. Because that's what we're going to see in a moment. That's what we're going to see in a moment. You're ahead of
every 20 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Woke up every, I think it was
Oh, that's
20
you'll see in a moment. Yeah, you'll see in a moment. Okay. Shista Leila, the 6th of the night, Vitarti the Imam, and 2 of the day, because the sons of the kings wake up. This is Rabbi Shua's opinion that you can recite Shema until the 3rd hour. Now there's a slight issue over here, and that is that Rabbi Shua's opinion is that you have 3 hours into the day, not 2 hours into the day at the 3rd. Commentaries discuss this, what it means that they begin waking up at the 3rd hour, but they finish waking up at the end of the 3rd hour. So that's a way to resolve it. So Havalish Day Mishmars, whatever it is, there's 2 watches. Ravashi says, Mishmaro Palganam Mishmars Karilu. Rashi says you don't have to get into this. He says, Kadmoena Yashmurais, my eyes precede the watches. It's a watch and a half. That's also good enough. A watch and a half is also watches. Okay. Amar Abzrika, Amar Abami, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Sometimes the Gemara does this. If we quoted an Amira, we'll say something else that they said, just because it's the same pattern of he heard it from him, he heard it from him, he heard it from him. Oh, let's say another thing that they mentioned. It goes like this. In front of someone that deceased, someone that passed away, you're only supposed to speak matters that are relevant to the mace. What's necessary preparations, burial, etc. Amar Rabbi Barkana. Rabbi Barkana says, "La yamar nela b'divrei Torah." That's referring to you're not supposed to talk words of Torah there. Aval mili da'alma leslamba, but to say other matters that doesn't matter. Say other matters that's fine. So, and the explanation for this is because la yiglarush. The mace would want to speak in Torah, but you're like mocking the poor. He's not able to converse in Torah, and it's a mitzvah. And he feels you're making him feel bad. You're talking Torah, and he can't be involved. So similarly to when you go to a funeral, you tuck the tzitzis in. You don't want to mock them that you have and they don't have. It's like driving on the express lanes, and you look over to the other side, laughing at everyone sitting in the traffic. That's a leg rush. So it's only Torah, but to say matters of the world, that's insignificant. Vikadamri, there are those that say Amar Abba Barkana le'amar ella afilu b'divrei Torah b'kolskin mili da'alma. Even divrei Torah you shouldn't say, but for sure other matters you shouldn't talk in front of the mace. You shouldn't be distracted by other things and talk about just news or other things that aren't relevant to the mace, because the mace can still hear what's going on, and it's disrespectful to him to just start talking about other things when he's just passed, and the conversation is not. How do we pass him?
I think the Chabad doesn't eulogize because he would come against you. Like that.
I know the Baha, again, the Shilt is passing like the Lishna Basra. There's a Taisvis here. The Taisvis says that no, he says only these passings like the first one, that it's only about the words of Torah. But it's only within 4 amas. Out of 4 amas, it's not a problem. That's what the Taisvis says. The Gemara now says, David bepalga de leila habikoi. David woke up. This is what you were mentioning, Rabbi. This is what you were mentioning. David woke up at midnight. Miorta habikoi. He was up already at the beginning of the night. Tiksiv, he says, Kidamti beneshev hashaveya. I proceeded by the night and I called out. Neshef is night. The Gemara says, Neshef or two. How do you know that Neshef means night? Neshef means to move. Bukada, the Bukada, Shaf Meduchte, it was like a dislodged bone we learned about in Chulin. Shaf means to move. How do you know Neshef means that it's evening? Ksiv, Baneshef, Berev Yom Bishan Laila Va'afela, in the evening of the day, in the darkness of the night. It says it's Neshef means night. Amar Avaishi, Amar Avacha, Hachikama. We had a question. The question is, what are you saying that David woke up at Chatzais? He woke up by the night. How do you know that it's night? We quoted a pasuk. Hachikama, this is what it means. David me'olam layavar alai Chatzais laila b'shina. What he means is, he was always up by midnight, and sometimes he was even up by the beginning of the night. Reb Zera Amar, Reb Zera says, Ad Chatzais laila yemasnamnan kustus. Until midnight, he would doze off like a horse. Like the head goes down. That's how you doze off in the shir. It goes down, then you wake up. Mikan ve'elech, from then and on, I experienced that in the evening. Mikan ve'elech, from then and on, he would have the strength of a lion after midnight. That's referring to. Ravashi says, Ad chatzais laila yesed b'divrei Torah, mikan ve'elech b'shiris v'sishpachis. You have to look carefully at these psukim. It says, Kidamti benefshef hashaveya, that would be talking about divrei Torah. But chatzais laila akum lahidus l'cha, that's talking about shiris v'sishpachis. It's not a contradiction. One is learning and one is Psalms. Okay, the Gemara now challenges what we said, that Neshef is evening. The Neshef or two. Is Neshef really the night? Nefesh tzavruhu, it's the morning. Just means to move. So it could be any change of time. That David hit them smote them from the morning until the following evening. My love, mitzaf vad leila must mean from morning till night. It says lay miyorta vadorta. No, it means from night to night. That was an easy answer. The Gemara says, why do you change the wording when he's talking about night? Just keep it symmetrical, that it should be exactly the same. There is two neshefs. There's a morning and a night. Neshef laila, vasi yamama, neshef yamama, vasi laila. There's the night moves in the day, and the day comes, or the day moves and the night comes.
Everybody can't watch now.
Let's stop right here. Let's stop right here. That way we have time to Good day.
Thank you.